Welcome, my darlings. Make yourself comfortable, and I have a tale to tell you. If you enjoy it, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I always enjoy your comments. Now, let us begin. The bully of our school bullied the newbie. He was not human. By Scare in a Box. Some time ago, a new boy arrived at the school. As was the custom with all newcomers, the school bully approached him. He was a skinny boy with brown-rimmed glasses, somewhat disheveled hair, and loose clothing. The perfect target. Not only for Thomas, the biggest bully in school, but also for everyone else. Thomas stood in front of him, arms folded and a crooked smile on his face. The new boy stared at him for a long moment, saying nothing, until Thomas took his arm in one of his huge hands. "I'll explain how things work around here, new," he said. "You give me part of your money, I protect you." The new boy didn't say anything, just stared at him. By that time, we were all watching the situation closely. Many smiled, complicit. Others were scared. Some rolled their eyes, knowing how it would all end. No matter how much the new guy refused at first, he would end up giving the bully money. However, to everyone's surprise, the new boy disappeared. Thomas's fingers, which had been holding the boy's skinny arm, was left holding the very air. The bully looked everywhere, not understanding what was happening. "What?" he started to scream, but was interrupted by a loud crack. Immediately afterwards, and to the astonishment of the entire school, a metallic contraption appeared around Thomas. It looked like a cage, but only one side was not made of bars, but a smooth metal plate. Thomas had been hooked to the metal at the wrists and ankles through the metal handcuffs that protruded from the bars opposite the plate. From one of the corners of the apparatus stuck out a giant drill, which was pointed at Thomas's chest. The bully tried to get free without any success. Many of us, including me, came to take a closer look at the device. One of the girls screamed, discovering that the newsboy's face was etched into the metal plate. His face was very clear, sticking out of the metal, his eyes closed. A new crack startled us all, causing us to walk away. The drill turned on and began to slowly approach Thomas. The sharp point aiming straight into the middle of his chest, into his heart. Thomas began to yell and move more, desperate to get away. Many started laughing, others just stared. A couple ran outside to call the teachers. I, for my part, began to walk around the device to see how it was set up, if there was a way to turn off the drill. Thomas was a bully. I myself had been bullied by him for years. But that didn't mean I want him to get hurt or dead, because if that drill reached his chest, it would kill him, that was for sure. A couple of teachers showed up within a few minutes. Some of the boys began to yell, joining in on Thomas's yelling. "Professor," I said, moving closer to one of them, "I think if we unscrew those things, we can get him out." I pointed out some gigantic screws, metallic like the rest of the structure, that protruded from it, and to seem to keep it assembled. The professor looked at me and then looked at the structure and nodded. "I'll get some screwdrivers," he said, and ran off. As we waited, we all watched in horror as the drill moved closer and closer to Thomas's body. The bully was still squirming, and he had started sobbing like a baby. Many guys laughed at this. Most of us, however, were now more concerned than amused. The new boy's face was still there, in the metallic silver, impassive, and with its eyes closed, as if he were a punishing god. The drill was already halfway through when the professor arrived with the screwdrivers. I took one. Several more took others. Altogether, we tried to remove the screws. They were so big and so locked that it took incredible force to move them even an inch. The vibration of the drill and Thomas's crying and the struggling were not helping the overall situation. "Thomas," the professor said at one point, "we need you to calm down. We'll get you out of there, don't worry, but please don't move." The bully nodded. Tears streamed down his face, and he kept his eyes closed so he wouldn't look at the drill. The screw that I was removing was halfway. The drill was several inches from Thomas's body, and for a moment I panicked. What would happen if we didn't get it out in time? What explanation would we give? It would be a disaster, that's for sure. Not just for Thomas's family and the school, but for everyone. I couldn't imagine. What would it be like to watch someone get pierced by a screw spinning at full speed? The entire hallway would be drenched in blood and other things I didn't even want to think about. I shook my head, trying to push those thoughts away, and turned my attention back to the screw. I twisted and pulled with all my strength I had, causing the screw to come out a little more. At that moment, one of the teachers managed to remove one of the screws, which fell to the floor with a metallic noise that startled us all. The other teacher was already close to removing another. I was in the middle, and the other boy was in a situation similar to mine. But Thomas didn't have that much time. The drill was dangerously close to his chest. When the second screw fell, both teachers began to help with the others. Thomas's eyes narrowed, and seeing how close he was to death, he gave a desperate squeal and began to move in all directions. "Thomas, calm down," yelled one of the teachers. The third and fourth screws fell to the ground. There were only two left, one of them mine. The teacher went to help as well as the other boys. The bully's scream filled the hallway. The drill was very close. The fifth screw fell. Thomas was still yelling. The drill seemed to be already touching the leather jacket he was wearing. The professor and I gave the last pull. The sixth and final screw fell to the floor. The metal holding Thomas in place split open, and he fell to his knees, shivering. He covered his face with his hands and began to cry again. The teachers went to help him. Almost automatically, I looked at the drill. It had stopped. The teachers helped the bully to his feet and took him away, trying to calm him down. The rest of us stayed and watched the device, which began to vanish into thin air as mysteriously as it had appeared. No one ever saw the new guy again. Nobody even remembers his name, if he ever said it. The teachers don't know who he was. Apparently there was no transfer scheduled for that day. Thomas is no longer a bully. So quoth this raven. My book is done, knock on wood. I've still got a few little things to edit. Hopefully I will be back on schedule for you guys. And if you have any suggestions, requests, anything of that sort, leave me a comment. I'm even going to let that car be in the video because I can and I don't have to edit out every little squeak. Yay. Anyway, have a beautiful week, my darlings. Bye-bye. What? You're still here after the whole story? I really appreciate that, darlings. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. And I always love to hear from you. Have a glorious day, my darlings.